Today, we will talk about how to get a job in USA. Let's have a look at the details. Perhaps you've always dreamed of coming to the United States to live and work. While the US has relatively strict immigration policies, you can still fulfill your dream with little effort and persistence. The most common way to do this is to look for a job in America from your home country. Once you have a job offer, the employer will file a petition to sponsor your visa application with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, which handles the rest of the process. The first method is finding a sponsor. Typically, you need a job offer before you can come to the U.S. to work. Unless you're currently studying in the U.S., this means you'll need to search for and apply to U.S. jobs from your home country. Create an American-style resume and cover letter. If you deliver an American-style resume and cover letter, the employer knows you've done your research on how to get a job in the US and that you'll have less difficulty transitioning to an American work environment. Search for American employers in your industry. The internet is the biggest source of information for job seekers in America, so you're in luck. You can access the largest job search websites, such as Indeed and Monster, no matter where in the world you currently live. Contact a recruiting agency if you're an experienced professional. Private recruiters, also known as headhunters, help companies find executive level and other highly qualified employees, such as high-level managers and company officers. If you have 5 to 10 years of experience in an executive or professional role, such as a lawyer or accountant, you might find it easier to work through a recruiter. Edit your cover letter and resume for each job you apply to. Read each job listing carefully and include specific skills mentioned in the listing in your resume and cover letter. Remove skills or experience that aren't related to that particular job. Follow up on your applications after a week or two. Many employers in the US don't reply to applications. Be ready to call the company to follow up on your application, and you may have to call more than once. If you're persistent, the company might decide to interview you. Attend your interview in person or online. If you're outside the country, any potential employer will likely set up an interview online or over the phone. They're usually not going to fly you in for an in-person interview unless you're applying for a high-level or executive position. Ask about sponsorship when you accept the job offer. If an employer extends an offer, congratulations. Unfortunately, that's only half the battle. Now that you have an offer of employment, you need a visa to come and work in America. Smaller companies that don't frequently hire international employees might not know what they need to do to get you into the country, so be prepared to help them make sense of the process. The second method is applying for a temporary work visa. In visa terms, temporary simply means not permanent. You have to renew your visa every few years, depending on the specific class of visa you have. This usually requires you to return to your home country. Ask your American employer to file a petition on your behalf. Typically, you'll need to already have a job before you apply for a non-immigrant visa to work in the US temporarily. The employer who extended you a job offer is responsible for filing a petition with USCIS so you'll be eligible for a visa. Wait until your employer's petition is approved. USCIS will send your employer a notice of action when their petition is approved. Once they receive this notice, you can apply for a visa. If you apply for a visa before the petition is approved, your application will be denied and you'll have to file it again after the petition is approved. Get together the documents you'll need to complete your application. You'll need to copy some of the information from your documents onto your application, so you should keep them handy. Although you can always save your application and return to it later, it's usually easier to just complete it all at once. At a minimum, you'll need the following documents: your valid passport, your travel itinerary, if you've already made travel plans or booked a flight, your resume or curriculum vitae, for information about your education and work history, the dates of your last 5 visits to the US, if you've previously visited the country, as well as your international travel history in the past 5 years. Complete your visa application online. Go to https://seat.state.gov/genov/ to start your application online. There's no way to set up an account, so write down the application ID number at the top right-hand corner of the page when you start your application. If you lose your connection or have to stop before you're done, you'll need that number to access your application and finish it. Upload a recent passport-sized photo for your application. Go to a professional passport photographer to have your photo taken in front of a white background. Ask them for a digital copy of the photo that you can upload. If digital photos aren't available, you can also scan a print. Submit your online application. Click the Sign Application button to submit your application electronically. The website will give you one last opportunity to check over all of your answers and make sure they're complete and correct. When you're done with this check, click the button to submit your application. Contact the U.S. Embassy or consulate nearest you. Go to the usembassy.gov website and enter the name of your country to get contact information for U.S. embassies and consulates. Call or write to the one closest to you and tell them that you are applying for a non-immigrant temporary work visa. Participate in your visa interview. A consular officer will ask you questions about your application to determine if you're qualified to receive a visa. Answer all of their questions completely and honestly. At your interview, you can expect to review your original documents. Pay your $190 visa application fee. Get your fingerprints taken. Find out whether your application has been approved or requires further processing. Pick up your visa at the embassy or consulate. The consular officer will let you know when your passport and visa will be available for you to pick up. If you had to travel a long distance to the embassy or consulate, they may arrange for a courier to deliver your passport and visa to you so you don't have to make that trip again. The third method is getting a green card. Green card applications are typically filed while you're in the US if you've decided that you want to stay in the country. With a green card, you don't have to worry about renewing your visa or returning to your home country periodically. Ask your employer to file an immigration petition for you. Your employer's petition, Form I-140, sets you on the path toward permanent residency. Once you become a permanent resident, you won't risk losing your status in the US if you don't return to your home country or work continuously for the same employer. Find out your priority date from your employer. Your priority date is usually the date your employer filed the immigration petition for you. However, if your petition required dole certification, your priority date is the date when USCIS receives that certification. Your employer typically will get a notice from USCIS that includes your priority date. Get a medical examination from an approved civil surgeon. Go to the Find a Doctor website to find a doctor near you. The doctor will examine you and complete a form for you to submit with your green card application. You'll get a copy for your records as well as a copy in a sealed envelope to submit to the USCIS. Fill out Form I-485 to apply for a green card. Download your form. Type your answers directly on the form on your computer or print out the form and write your answers legibly using a black pen. Answer each question honestly and completely, there's extra space available if you need it. Make copies of documents to support your application. USCIS requires copies of official documents to back up most of the statements you make on your application. You don't have to send originals, but you may need to take the originals with you if USCIS schedules an interview. Submit your application and supporting documents to USCIS. Go to your biometric services appointment. After USCIS receives your application, they'll send you a notice with the date, time, and location of your biometric services appointment. The appointment will be scheduled at an application support center, ASC, near you. Bring your appointment notice and a valid, government-issued photo ID with you to your appointment. Participate in an interview if you receive a notice. Interviews aren't always required. However, if USCIS decides you need one, they'll send you a notice with the date, time, and location. If you won't be able to attend on that date, call USCIS at the number on the notice as soon as possible to get it changed. Wait to receive your written decision notice. It may take several months to find out USCIS's decision on your application. If your application was accepted, you'll get an approval letter first, then get your actual green card a few weeks later. If USCIS denies your application, the notice will explain the reason why and what you can do if you want to appeal that decision.